Welcome back to another week of At Your Peak. Ryan Kibbe in a fundamentals series that we're spending a lot of time on. And I want to encourage you, if you're getting some encouragement from this and you feel it would bless other people, share it on social media, share it from our app, our Elevation Church Wisconsin app. It's on there, as well as our web and, of course, Facebook and YouTube. So lots of options, but we really want it to be a blessing to people and as we go through concepts that help empower people in their everyday life. Today, I want to talk to you about risk. And that's really good because we spent a lot of last week talking about faith. And really, faith is spelled R-I-S-K. So I want to just drive it a little deeper, but from a different angle. And I want to tell you about the story of Blondine the Great. And he's a famous guy at Niagara Falls years ago. He was a high wire act. And he had this ability to walk across on this high wire with this raging, this was years ago. So, I mean, the technology isn't like it is today, but he walked right across that. Amazing. Well, he begins to escalate the stakes. You know, he said, well, do you think I can do it? And they're all like shouting, yeah, you can do it. And he does it. Well, he gets to where he gets the stakes going higher. And amid the ovation, Blondine stops and asks his audience if they believed he could carry a person across the falls in his wheelbarrow. And together they screamed, yeah, you're the greatest. And he stopped them short when he asked, and he says, who wants to get into the wheelbarrow? And not one hand went up. There's so much that preaches to. I mean, it's one thing to applaud Peter, who walked on water, but are you willing to get out of the boat and walk on water like Peter? Risk is risky, and you can't play your whole life playing it safe and never risk. Part of the living in this world is risk, and it's called, faith is spelled R-I-S-K. And I use that example in a sense because you've got to be willing to let it all go. You know, you've heard the phrase, let go, let God. God can only fill empty vessels that are ready for him to fill his presence in us. And when we receive him in Christ, we have all of God in all of us. And he finds that amazing. So he says, though, Ryan, you've got to lose your life. If you want to find it, Matthew 10:39, he who finds his life will lose it. He who loses his life for my sake will find it. Well, like Blondine's audience, sometimes we get excited and emotional after an important spiritual experience or rousing sermon. We're caught up in the moment. We're eager to cheer for those who are doing the work and taking the chances. But when we're called to step out in faith, to risk a little or to lay it all on the line, our hands can stay firmly clasped in our lap. I know that's not you. I mean, let's be honest. We've all had those, not doing that. No. I think we've all had our Blondine moments. Well, there's risk to challenging the status quo. There is a risk to challenging the status quo in this world. People take hits. You take a stand for things, you take the hits. You can be misunderstood and you'll take the hits. Jesus was misunderstood. He took the hits. He kept coming. He risked it all for you and I at the cross, but he won. He won big. See, in God's kingdom, playing it safe is risky. It's a theme woven throughout the Bible. There are moments when God calls us to go out beyond the same old, try something, a new job, a new endeavor, doesn't work out. But at least you tried, you learned, you grew. And if you understood that God gives you permission to fail, explore, and go, you're not going to live life perfectly. But live bold, live big. Try new things. Peter was a risk taker, you know, the guy that walked on water. He was impulsive. He was rash. He's at times unfaithful in his walk with God. And he told Jesus to not go to the cross. He told God not to do his job. That he couldn't go to the cross. He told God, you can't do that. That's a little presumptive. He then denies Jesus 3 times later. You know the stories. But he's also the first to point out Jesus' identity as the Son of God, the Messiah. He's also the one that walked on water, and he commanded a cripple to stand up and walk, and he did. He took risks. How about you? Are you willing to go after things in God and with God that bust up and break your comfort barriers to advance his kingdom. What is your chicken line? You know, for me, years ago, the idea of praying for people in public, praying for the sick or doing something that's a little risky, my chicken line was pretty pronounced. The more you do that, though, you have less of a chicken line, and God ups the stakes, so to speak. But what I've realized is when I say yes in the little things, he brings more, and I see more breakthrough. And he wants to build your faith, but you're going to have to learn to take baby steps. Get out of the boat and see what happens. Love you. We'll see you tomorrow.